All right, everybody, get ready, because today we're diving deep into one of those mysteries that just grabs you and never lets go.
A story full of twists, turns, and, let's just say it, a whole lot of unanswered questions.
Exactly. And it all starts back in 1971 with a guy, a plane, and a plan so audacious it seems ripped straight out of the movies.
And trust me, the details of this case, they're the kind of thing that'll have you hooked right till the very end.
So picture this. It's a chilly November day. We're at an airport in Portland, Oregon. People are going about their business, grabbing a coffee, reading the paper. You know, the usual pre-flight stuff.
Just another ordinary day, or so they thought.
Right. And among them is a man seemingly ordinary himself using the name Dan Cooper. He's got a ticket for a flight to Seattle, flight 305. Nothing out of the ordinary there.
Except that Dan Cooper, or DB Cooper as he would mistakenly become known, wasn't your average passenger.
Not even close. I mean, he boards the plane, finds a seat, orders a bourbon and soda. Everything seems perfectly normal.
Until it wasn't.
Until it wasn't. See, once that plane is in the air, Cooper leans over to the flight attendant and slips her a note.
A note that changes everything.
And that note, it said, "I have a bomb." And he wasn't kidding. He even opened his briefcase just enough to show her what looked like wires and explosives. Talk about a heart-stopping moment, right?
You can practically feel the tension on that plane. People's lives hanging in the balance, all because of one man's audacious plan.
And his demands were just as bold as the note itself. He wanted $200,000 in cash and 4 parachutes.
Now, that's where things get really interesting. See, most hijackers, they want money, maybe passage to another country, right? But parachutes, that throws a whole other wrench into the equation.
Right. It's not your everyday hijacking demand. It implies escape, a daring leap into the unknown. It suggests a level of planning that sends chills down your spine.
It tells you this wasn't some spur-of-the-moment thing. This was a meticulously crafted operation, thought out, calculated. He knew what he was doing every step of the way.
So the plane lands in Seattle as Cooper instructed. Passengers and some of the crew are allowed off. He gets his money all in $20 bills. Another intriguing detail.
A detail that sparked endless debate among investigators and armchair detectives alike. Was it to avoid traceable bills? Or maybe just to make it easier to handle during his escape?
We may never know for sure, but what we do know is that with his demands met, Cooper then orders the plane back into the air, this time with a new destination in mind, Mexico.
And this is where the story takes its most incredible turn. Because as the plane rumbles through the night sky, somewhere over the dense, dark forests of Washington state, D.B. Cooper decides to take a chance that would cement his place in criminal history.
He jumps with the money.
Yeah.
In the middle of a storm.
A storm that swallowed him whole.
Can you even imagine the sheer guts it must have taken to make that jump? The darkness, the wind howling outside, the uncertainty of what lay below. It's the stuff of legend.
And just like any good legend, what followed was a search of epic proportions. The FBI launched a full-scale investigation, codenamed Norjack.
Norjack, Northwest Hijacking. And they were determined to find this modern-day Robin Hood, this Phantom of the Skies.
Hundreds of agents, countless man-hours, scouring every inch of that vast wilderness.
But despite their efforts, despite using every tool at their disposal, the initial searches yielded nothing. No D.B. Cooper,
Right.
No parachute, no sign of the money. It was like he vanished into thin air, swallowed whole by the night and the storm.
It was as if he never existed.
Exactly. Now, for years, the case went cold. Theories abounded, whispers in the wind, but nothing concrete. Then, in 1980, nearly a decade after that fateful flight, a discovery breathed new life into the mystery.
A discovery that raised more questions than it answered.
A young boy, playing on the banks of the Columbia River, stumbles upon a partially buried package.
And inside,
Decomposed bundles of $20 bills, confirmed to be part of that ransom money.
it was a tantalizing clue, a breadcrumb on the trail of a ghost. It suggested that maybe, just maybe, D.B. Cooper had survived that impossible jump after all.
But if he did, what became of him? Did he live out his days in secret, spending his ill-gotten gains? Or did fate catch up with him in a way we haven't even considered?
Those are questions we may never have answers to. But that's the allure of D.B. Cooper, isn't it? The mystery that continues to fascinate.
It really is. Now, over the years, the FBI investigated hundreds of leads and potential suspects, some more promising than others. One name that stands out is Richard McCoy.
McCoy. Now, he was interesting. Just a few months after Cooper's hijacking, he pulled off a strikingly similar stunt. Same kind of plane, same demand for parachutes.
Like, it was almost too similar to be a coincidence.
Exactly. But McCoy, He was eventually caught and imprisoned. So while his case fueled the Cooper theories for a while, it ultimately remained just that, a theory.
Then there was Robert Rackstraw, a former Green Beret and pilot with a bit of a shadowy past.
Rackstraw, now his story, that's a whole other rabbit hole we could spend an entire episode dissecting.
Right. I mean, there were some intriguing details there. His military background, his knowledge of parachutes, even some coded messages some folks claimed he sent to the media.
But despite the intrigue, no concrete evidence ever directly linked Rackstraw, or anyone else for that matter, to the D.B. Cooper case.
It's like trying to catch smoke, isn't it? The more you reach for it, the more it slips through your fingers.
Exactly. And in 2016, after decades of chasing shadows, the FBI officially closed the D.B. Cooper case, stating they'd exhausted all credible leads.
But even though the FBI officially closed the book on D.B. Cooper, his story continues to capture the imaginations of people all over the world.
And it makes sense, right? I mean, it's a story about freedom, about thumbing your nose at the system. Plus, there's that enduring allure of the unknown. Did he survive? Did he live a life of luxury?
Yeah.
Or did he just disappear?
Those are the questions, aren't they? Questions we may never have definitive answers to, but questions that keep us coming back for more, year after year, decade after decade. And maybe that's what makes this case so compelling. It's a reminder that sometimes the best stories are the ones with no ending, the ones we're left to ponder long after the credits roll.
And who knows? Maybe someday someone will unearth that one missing piece of the puzzle that finally reveals the truth about D.B. Cooper. Until then, the mystery endures.
Until then, the legend lives on.